So you've decided that a campervan or motorhome is for you, and you're now looking at what to get. There's a lot to think about, so in this video we'll share tips on picking the right van for you. It's the first in a two-part series, and in this part we'll look at the options to consider when you're trying to find the right van for you, and in part two we'll look at common scams and how to avoid getting ripped off when you actually make your purchase.
Thanks for watching our video, and as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please pop them in the comments below. If you find the video useful, please like, share and consider subscribing.
Let's start with what type of campervan you are looking for. You may want to convert your own, buy a commercial motorhome or something in the middle. Let's take a look at some of the pros and cons.
By self-converting a bare van, you can pick the best base vehicle and design to suit your needs. You can choose to install new or second-hand equipment to help manage your budget. You can also get to bond with your own van, and when things go wrong, which they will, you know what you installed, so you can probably fix most issues. But the cost of materials and time to convert can be more than you think. If you don't feel you're competent enough, then you may have to factor in some professional labour, say for gas installation or electrics. By choosing a van that someone else has self-converted, the hard work is done for you. They're often built with passion and have had all the niggles worked out. Designs are unique and it can work out cheaper than doing it yourself. The downside is you don't really know the quality of the build or any shortcuts that they may have made. You don't know the history of the equipment fitted and how reliable it is. If things go wrong, it could be hard to work out what actually has gone wrong. Going for a professional conversion of either a new or older van could eliminate the quality worries, though not always, and it will probably be fitted with brand new equipment with warranties. It is, however, likely to be more expensive than doing it yourself. Corners could still be cut, and if there are problems with the base vehicle, any warranty could be compromised by the work done by the converter. And finally, an off-the-shelf motorhome may be worth considering, as they aren't unique and there are probably hundreds the same as you are looking. There's a wealth of knowledge out there on common faults. Especially coach builds have a good use of space and high quality specific motorhome equipment. However, coach builds can be susceptible to damp problems. Some have very limited weight payloads. The number of belted seats compared to beds doesn't always work out, particularly in older vehicles, and you are limited to the layouts that are available.
Once you've decided on the type of campervan you want, the next thing many people think about is what makes and model is best, which sounds like a good place to start, doesn't it? But by only looking at certain makes and models, it can mean you end up with a less than ideal van, or you miss out on a great van.
Our suggestion would be to forget makes and models to start with. Van condition and suitability for your usage is more important than make or model. Every make and model has its bad examples and its great ones. You'll find everyone has an opinion on what's the best van, but it's unlikely everyone will agree or understand your individual needs. Only you can pick what is the right van for you.
So let's take a step back, and what type of van do you want or need?
Some of the things to consider are weight. How many of you are there, how much gear, how much load weight will be left after you've added your conversion, and what licence do you have to drive it? You may find that your licence only covers you up to a maximum authorised mass of 3.5 tonnes, so that you have to take an extra test if you go over this limit. When thinking about the length of your van, where do you want to park it and how much space have you got and how much equipment do you want to fit into it? You might want to look at the internal width of the van. How tall are you? Would you like a bed that goes transverse across the van? Then there's the internal height. Do you want to be able to stand up in it, or do you want to be able to get under parking barriers? You might want to consider a box van, which is a nice square box to fit out rather than the curves of a panel van. And do you want an engine that's petrol or diesel powered? So now, we've not even thought about the make and model, and we have already thinned down the playing field to, let's say, a long wheelbase under 3.5 tonne with a high top and a diesel engine. If you're looking at a pre-converted van or an off-the-shelf motorhome, you need to think about things like how many beds do you need, how many travelling seats, do you want a shower or toilet, but don't forget how much does it weigh and how much load weight is left for your gear, as even off-the-shelf motorhomes have a surprisingly little before they will be illegally overweight.
Now you know what your requirements are, go and look at every van you can find that matches those criteria, irrelevant to the make or the model. And pretty soon you'll get a feel for which suits you best and is in the best condition for the price you want to pay. There are 3 key places to shop for a van. You may want to consider all 3 or limit yourself based on these pros and cons.
You may get a better price buying from a private seller. And you also might get better information about the vehicle. You have limited protection though, and the vehicle only needs to be roadworthy and as described, and the seller must have the legal right to sell it. Your research and checks are vital. If you end up with a faulty car and the seller has done nothing wrong, there's little you can do about it. You generally get better consumer rights from a dealer. They probably will have a warranty, financing might be available, and an independent inspection may already have been completed. They might even consider a part exchange. They do tend to be a higher price than private, and you need to know how to negotiate. An auction is probably the riskiest way to buy, but you could get a bargain. Prices are usually substantially lower than private sales. However, unless described incorrectly, you have very few consumer rights. You may have a limited time to inspect the vehicle before the auction, but you probably won't even be able to have a test drive. It's also easy to get carried away in an auction and pay more than you want or the van is actually worth.
Something that is a common concern is what's best, low mileage, low age or condition.
For me, condition is everything. Vans are built for high mileage and to keep going for years if they're looked after. I'd much rather have a high mileage van in good condition over a low mileage van that's not been looked after. Also, some older but low mileage vans can be prone to rust or seized parts if they've not been in regular use. If you are doing a van conversion either yourself or having a professional do it, I suggest picking as mechanically and structurally sound van as you can for the money you've got, unless you're confident in your abilities or your wallet to keep it on the road. You're going to spend a lot of time, effort and probably money on your conversion, and you will probably become emotionally attached. The last thing you want is your base vehicle to fail its MOT or break down and be uneconomical to repair. All your hard work and effort could be wasted.
Once you've found the van you want, don't be rushed into a decision. There's a few checks that can help make sure the purchase is the right one for you.
In the UK, you can check the MOT history online. You can check for any previous failures or advisory warnings, and then you can verify with the seller that these have been resolved. You can also check the mileage recorded at each MOT to validate that. Do be careful when finding the website online, as there are scam sites that try to charge you for the service. The genuine one is free, and I've linked to it in the video description. When you look at the V5 registration document, first check it is real. It should have a DVLA watermark, and be careful to check the serial number. In 2006, more than 2 million blank V5s were stolen. If the serial number is between those shown below, then the document is stolen. On the V5, check the VIN, chassis, engine number and number plates match it. Personally, I wouldn't buy a van without seeing the V5, though I do know that some people do, and you can request a replacement. However, I see this as risky, as if that was going to be an easy task, why wouldn't the seller have already done it? This is also your chance to ask the seller lots of questions. Ask about work done on the van, any breakdowns, accidents, if there is equipment fitted like a fridge or heater or solar controller, get the seller to demonstrate it so you know it's working and how to use it. If you feel confident, checking it is mechanically sound might be as easy as taking a test drive and checking it by yourself. If not, taking someone with you that knows who can check it for you, or paying a pre-purchase survey from a professional. Finally, a HPI check will cost a few pounds, but it will confirm if there isn't any finance outstanding on your van or if it has been previously written off or scrapped, all of which can cause problems later or be reflected in the price you should pay. There have always been lots of scams around buying vehicles, but vans and motorhomes definitely seem to be the target for scammers at the moment. So in our next video, we'll look at the common scams and how you can help to protect yourself from them. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it.